So Yared, you were second in this race last year, very close to the win. Like, how does that performance change your mindset at all coming into this race?
Yeah, I feel like that race was a really great way to cap my season, kind of like where I felt like I should have been the whole year in a sense. And so, I think like coming back to pre, it's still a completely different race. Like you're doing at the earlier part of the season versus the end, but the competition's still all there. So I feel like I'm still very motivated to kind of just like go out and give it everything I have and hopefully do something really cool. But I think this race is like, while that race was like kind of like the cap on the momentum, this race is kind of like the start of the momentum for outdoors. So, yeah.
I saw a recent interview, I think, with Michael Johnson. He kind of mentioned you as an athlete he was interested in watching because you're American, doing well in the 1500. He's starting this new venture next year. Has he approached you at all about competing in it? Like, what do you know about that?
I don't know a lot about this. A venture, like a race or something?
It's like a series of meets. They haven't really given all the details about it yet. But.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it. Sounds interesting though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm down to try new things.
I mean, do you view any sort of, like, how do you view the current professional setup at the Diamond League? Like, do you have any issues with how that operates?
I think like, I don't know. I think there are things that like could be better. I do like a lot of what the Diamond League does. I feel like the format of like how they have like some races, some places, and some in others feels necessary, but also like a little random at times, and like I don't know. And the whole like if you're not like one of the best athletes, like getting into them, also I don't really like that setup. But I think like for what it is, I think it's like does a really good job, but I think there's always still room for improvement.
And what will be your takeaway from the result in tomorrow's race?
I think well, it depends on how I do, but the biggest takeaway I guess is just like kind of gauging where I'm at this point in the season. I feel like we're all at like a pretty early part of the season, but it's still going to be like very important to like go out there and give it everything you have, because I think like whoever wins that race, like you kind of get like not really like bragging rights, but just like a little more like bolstered confidence because like we probably won't see each other again to like the Olympics or something. So I think it's a really important race in that regard.
You're kind of like one of the big three for tomorrow, right? But you're not in the same conversation as the just kind of the butting of the heads, I guess, between that some people think there is between Jakob and Josh.
Yeah.
Like, what's your view of that as someone that's competing alongside them trying to win this race?
Yeah, I mean, it's more just kind of been like a funny aside that like I will talk about with my friends at times versus like anything I actually feel during the race or something. But it has just been like kind of interesting to watch, I'm sure. But I'm more curious on how they really feel. I might ask them later. But I feel like it is just kind of like a fun part of track and field right now, but something I'm obviously very out of because I'm me.
I'm curious. Does you beating them just kind of squash that between them, and now they got to focus on you?
It will be hilarious, I will say. Like I can't imagine what they'd be thinking in that case. But I like to think that for either of them, like me winning is like the lesser evil. Maybe I don't know. I'll find out.
What will that mean to you to take this field down if you have that opportunity tomorrow?
No, it would be amazing. I feel like, I feel really good at this point in the season, but to kind of like have a result that like shows that, I think, like I said, is really good momentum, just especially going into the trials where, I am confident about how I will do there, but, you still would like to, take down a world-class field right beforehand. So, yeah.
Last year we saw you go and run a bunch of Diamond Leagues, either before USA's or after USA's, before Worlds. Will you go over to Europe and run any this summer?
I only have plans of like maybe one other between the trials and the Olympics, and maybe some after, but I think like this year the schedule was like a little weird, and I think like Dayton puts a lot of emphasis on like the trials and doing well in that. So I won't be going anywhere before that, and just I don't know, just kind of chilling here. Like the Oslo one being like 5 days after this is another example of just like I'm not going to Oslo, and like I mean they are, but like I just couldn't imagine like going to Oslo like 5 days from Eugene and just like performing well there. So yeah.
How do you feel about the U.S. mile scene right now? Because we've got you and Cole and Hobbs Kessler, and then Centro's on the way back. We got these college kids, got Cooper Tier. Like, how does it feel to be part of that at the moment?
It's great. I feel like when I was in Tokyo, it was like I didn't really appreciate it as much because I didn't wasn't that involved in it, and also I just was kind of just doing it for fun anyway. But I think like now there's I think a lot of tension building towards it, and I think like everyone's gonna be bringing their A game for the trials, and so I know that it's gonna be like a really exciting race when it happens, and I'm really pumped for it. So the more the merrier. I always say if there's more people that are like really peaking at that time, I'm here for it because no one's gonna want to care. No one's gonna care if it's just like me just like dominating a field. So my opponents are looking really good, and I've been really happy to see it.
Is Coffee Club have any predictions for this race? And if so, where do you and Jordy sit in those predictions?
I was gonna say I don't know. I didn't watch their podcast yet right before for the preview of pre. But I feel like they because Ollie's in it too, so I feel like Ollie and George are kind of betting on themselves a little bit. But I'm sure they would. I don't know. I haven't seen any real predictions.
Are you more or less likely to be a guest if you beat both of them?
Probably more likely.
Oh, okay.
I don't
That's
know.
Good. They respect the result.
I think if I won, I think then they'd be like, oh, come on or something. But they can ask me that whenever, so it's not like there's anything holding them back from being like, do you want to be on the podcast? I'm just like, not
so they haven't
amazing.
asked you yet.
I've been on it once before, but I'm just not amazing podcast material. If you ask me about running stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, about how the Diamond League scene is, I'm like, it's fine. So yeah, not very opinionated.
All right, we're looking forward to seeing you out there tomorrow, Yared.